270 lives gone in moments. Just think about that. 270 stories, 270 dreams, 270 families waiting for a call that would never come. In the blink of an eye, an entire world shattered for so many. This is not just news. This is a human tragedy. One that demands not just our attention, but our awakening. Because every time a plane crashes, it reminds us of the terrifying truth we all pretend to forget. Life is fragile. Life is temporary. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is promised tomorrow. What if the person sitting beside you at dinner today won't come home tomorrow? What if your goodbye this morning was your last? We read headlines, we scroll past, but we forget these are people. Someone's daughter, someone's father, someone's entire world lost forever. And the most heartbreaking part, we never know when fate will flip its cruel coin. So why are we living like we have time? Why are we wasting words, holding grudges, holding back our love? That's the idea I have for you. The most heartbreaking part will get lost choking on things we should say today because we think there's always tomorrow. This plane crash is not just about aviation failure. It's about the reality of life. Raw, ruthless, real. Let this moment wake you up. Let this tragedy not be just another sad scroll on your phone, but the reminder that life is today. And if you're not living fully, fiercely and fearlessly, then you're wasting the greatest gift you've ever been given. Your breath. Life has a strange way of reminding us that control is just an illusion. We make plans, we build dreams, we set routines, believing that tomorrow is waiting patiently for us. But the truth, the raw, unsettling, undeniable truth, is that life is the most unpredictable force in the universe. It gives no warnings, no signs, no hints. Before it changes everything in a single moment. Like the tragic Air India crash where 270 souls thought they were just taking another flight. Maybe heading to work, to family, to new beginnings. But they never reached their destination. In the blink of an eye, their time was over. No one expects that the last coffee they sip in the airport will be their final one. No one imagines that the goodbye hug to their child will be the last. Yet life unfolds this way, suddenly, sharply, without mercy. Think about it. How many times have you left your house in the morning, absolutely certain you'd return in the evening? You grab your bag, lock the door, maybe forget to say I love you to someone, thinking there's always later. But what if later never comes? What if this moment, this very breath, is the only one guaranteed? We scroll past news like this plane crash, telling ourselves how sad and move on. But do we stop and let it shake our own reality? Because the same unpredictable life that took those 270 people without warning is the same life you and I are living right now. This is not a distant story. This is a reminder written in pain and loss. Remember the story of that young man who kissed his mother goodbye, promising to call her after his business trip. But that call never happened. Or the girl who texted her best friend, "See you soon," before boarding, never knowing she wouldn't step foot on the ground again. These are not fairy tales or fiction. These are real moments, frozen forever in time, because life didn't follow the plan. How foolish are we to think that we own time? We save apologies for tomorrow. We save forgiveness for someday. We store dreams in boxes labeled later. But later is a liar. Later may never come. What if this was your last sunrise? Would you still argue over petty things? Would you still scroll endlessly through social media, wasting hours comparing yourself to strangers? Would you hold back your feelings, afraid of rejection, if you knew you'd never get another chance to say them? I met a woman once who spent years building her career, ignoring her health, because there's time to rest later. Cancer didn't wait. Cancer didn't care about her plans. Life pulled the rug from beneath her when she least expected it. She told me, with tears in her eyes, I was living for a future I never reached. I forgot to live now. Her words haunt me. They should haunt all of us. Because how many of us are postponing life, betting on a tomorrow that isn't promised? Even in simple ways, like skipping family dinners because work emails matter more, ignoring calls from old friends because you're too tired, saying I'll start that dream next year because you believe time is endless. But time is a silent thief. You never see it coming, but when it leaves, it takes everything. Just like that plane crash took everything from 270 families. Smiles that will never be seen again. The smiles that will never be seen again. Voices that will never speak again. When you wake up in the morning, you assume you will sleep in your bed at night. But what if you don't? What if today is all you've got? Would you still stay silent when your heart wants to speak? Would you still wait for the right time to chase your passion? Or would you rise, fearless, bold, unstoppable, knowing that life is not meant to be delayed, but devoured? The unpredictability of life is not a curse. It's the greatest motivator we have. Because knowing that nothing is certain gives us permission to live fully, to risk, to leap, to dance when the world tells us to sit, to speak when fear tells us to be quiet. This is your moment. This is your story being written. Don't waste it by assuming there will be another page. Stop delaying the important things, because life will not wait for you to feel ready. That's the hardest truth most people try to ignore. We tell ourselves there's always time to apologize tomorrow, to call that old friend next week, to visit our parents next month, to start chasing our dreams next year. But tomorrow is not promised. Next week is not guaranteed, and next year might never come. This is why delaying the important things is like holding a precious flower in your hand and watching it wither slowly, because you never watered it. How many relationships have crumbled because of a message left unsent? How many mothers have sat waiting by the phone for a child who promised to call but got too busy? How many people die with dreams still trapped in their heart because they thought they'd get another chance? I remember meeting a man who wanted to write a book. Every time I saw him, he said, I'll start next month, when work slows down, when the kids grow older, when I have more time. 10 years passed. His book was never written. Life moved faster than his excuses. And in the end, regret sat heavier on his heart than any rejection ever could. What if he had written that book? What impact could his words have made? The saddest stories are not of failures, but of things never even attempted. Look at your own life. How many dreams are you delaying? How many times have you swallowed words because you were afraid of what people might think? How many times have you stopped yourself from loving fully because you feared heartbreak? But fear doesn't save you. It robs you. One day you will wish you spoke. You will wish you dared. You will wish you leapt. But life doesn't give refunds for missed moments. When the plane crashes, when the unexpected happens, when the goodbye is forever, you will only have the silence of what you didn't do. There's a girl I knew who wanted to tell her father how much she loved him. But every time she picked up the phone, she thought, I'll call him tomorrow. Then one day, tomorrow never came. Her father was gone. She cried not only for her loss, but for the words she never said, because they burned in her throat like fire. But she had waited too long to release them. Don't make the same mistake. If you love someone, tell them now. If you want forgiveness, ask for it now. If you want to change your life, start now. Even in the smallest ways, delaying kills joy. How many times have you wanted to start getting healthy, but said, Monday, I'll start the gym on Monday. Why Monday? Why not today? Your body doesn't wait, your health won't wait. Your energy is fading every moment. You choose later over now. Or the friend you've been meaning to see, the coffee you've postponed 3 times because life feels too busy. What if that friend is gone before the 4th plan is made? The truth is brutal. Busyness is not an excuse, it's a choice. Some people keep waiting for the perfect time to propose, to move abroad, to switch careers, to start their path. But the perfect time is a myth. It never arrives dressed in certainty. It sneaks in like a whisper in the middle of your fear and asks, will you dare anyway? But in waiting, she lost her self-respect, her confidence, her joy. Only when she realized that the pain of staying was worse than the fear of leaving did she walk away. And she told me something that will stay with me forever. The right time to choose yourself is always now. Always now. Stop delaying the words you need to speak. Stop delaying the risks you need to take. Stop delaying the forgiveness you need to give. Because the cost of delay is regret. And regret is the heaviest burden a human heart can carry. Every second spent waiting is a second lost forever. Time never comes back. It is the only currency that once spent can never be earned again. Your priorities shape your legacy, whether you realize it or not. What you choose to focus on every single day is building the story that people will remember about you when you're gone. Not the words you spoke once at a grand event, not the photo you posted for likes, but the choices you made in the quiet, ordinary moments when no one was watching. It is in those moments your legacy is written. You see, life does not ask you what you want to be remembered for. It simply records what you gave your time, your energy, and your heart to. And that becomes your truth. That becomes your legacy. Some people spend their lives chasing status, wealth, and attention. They climb the ladder of success, ignoring family dinners, missing birthdays, canceling important calls with old friends, thinking there will be time later. They collect cars, houses, jewelry, but lose connection, peace, and purpose. And when they reach the top, the applause fades quickly. The bank account stays full, but the heart feels empty. No child ever remembers how expensive their father's watch was. They remember how their father made them feel. No friend grieves the handbag you bought. They miss the comfort of your laugh, the warmth of your care. What you prioritize builds the memories others carry long after you are gone. I knew a woman who built her entire life around her job. She was admired, successful, always dressed in power suits, and holding meetings that felt urgent. But she missed her son's school plays, forgot her mother's birthday, lost touch with friends who needed her. When illness came suddenly and unexpectedly, she lay in her hospital bed weeping, not for lost money or lost status, but for moments she could never reclaim. She told me, I built an empire, but neglected my own world. What have I really left behind? That is the cruel truth. You don't get to take your achievements with you. She could scarcely drink water from the tap. When I got to an elevator, I wanted to tell her you were not there. But you don't get to take your achievements with you. You could scarcely drink water from the tap. You could scarcely drink water from the tap. Only your impact remains. Your legacy is shaped when you choose to spend a Sunday morning holding your grandmother's hand instead of checking emails. It is shaped when you turn off the television and listen to your child's endless stories with patience, making them feel like the most important person in the world. It is shaped when you choose kindness over ego, generosity over greed, love over pride. These small, silent acts seem invisible to the world, but they are carving your legacy deeply into the hearts of those who will remember you forever. There's a man I met once. Simple, not rich, not famous. But his funeral was overflowing with people. Why? Because he gave time, love, and care to everyone he met. He fixed neighbors' cars for free. He made strangers laugh at bus stops. He showed up when nobody else did. He prioritized people over possessions. And that is why he was unforgettable. His life left echoes in the hearts of hundreds. That is a real legacy. No award could ever buy that. Meanwhile, there are people who lived in palaces, ruled industries, gathered millions, and died lonely, unvisited, forgotten. Because what they prioritized was shallow, temporary, selfish. They shaped a legacy no one cared to remember. Life offers that brutal choice to all of us. What will you make matter? Even in the smallest daily choices, do you pause to comfort a friend or scroll through your phone? Do you lift someone's spirit with your words or stay silent out of convenience? Do you sacrifice joy for status, love for ambition, peace for pride? Every decision is a thread woven into the fabric of your legacy. You are already leaving one with every heartbeat, every action. So the question is not, will I be remembered? The real question is, what will I be remembered for? And that answer lies in your priorities today. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because the things you make time for right now are silently becoming the story people will tell about you when your voice is no longer here. Safety is not an option, it's a responsibility. It is not something we get to choose when it feels convenient or ignore when it feels like an inconvenience. Safety is the invisible thread that holds life together. The silent shield that protects dreams, families, futures. When safety is delayed, disaster is inevitable. When safety is delayed, regret becomes permanent. The tragic Air India plane crash that claimed 270 innocent lives is not just a failure of machines or technology. It is the result of someone, somewhere, treating safety like an option instead of a sacred duty. Think about it. Every time a mechanic skips a tiny inspection because they are tired or distracted, they are gambling with hundreds of lives. Every time an airline cuts costs on maintenance to increase profit, they are risking entire families. Every time a pilot feels unwell but is forced to fly because of pressure, they are putting hundreds of futures on the line. These are not small mistakes. They are choices that turn into headlines soaked with grief. And yet, this lesson is ignored until it's too late. When a plane crashes, the world cries for a week, demands answers for a month, and then forgets until the next tragedy strikes. But it's not just about planes or airlines. Safety is your responsibility too. When you text while driving because you think it's just a second, you are risking your life and someone else's family forever. When you ignore the warning signs of your body, pain, tiredness, stress, because you're too busy chasing work. You are gambling with your own future. When companies ignore building codes to save money, when people rush through dangerous shortcuts to save time, when governments delay crucial safety reforms because of politics, they're all turning life into a dangerous game where innocent people always lose. I remember a factory worker who skipped wearing his helmet one day because it felt heavy. That day a piece of machinery broke loose and hit him. His life changed forever in that instant. Months of hospital beds, years of regret, a future shattered because of one simple neglected safety measure. He told me later, "I thought I was being smart, saving time, but I lost far more than I saved." Safety is not extra. It is essential. Even at home, how many parents ignore locking medicine cabinets, leaving sharp tools within reach of children? How many fires have started because someone thought, "I'll blow that candle out later"? How many accidents happen because someone left the wet floor without a warning sign? We forget that the cost of neglect is always higher than the cost of caution. For organizations, safety must be the foundation, not the decoration. No deadline, no budget, no profit is worth a human life. Cutting corners on safety is like building a castle on sand. It will collapse. And the price will be paid in blood and sorrow. The airlines, the transport companies, the factories, the hospitals, the schools, every single one must remember this. When they forget, the news becomes filled with names that should have gone home to their families but never did. I once met a survivor of a plane crash. He said the worst part was not the crash itself, but knowing it could have been prevented. The cracks were there, the warnings were there, but someone chose to ignore them. That knowing was more painful than the broken bones. Because every disaster is a message written too late. You could have prevented this. Let that message not reach your life, your workplace, your choices. Safety is not fear. Safety is respect. For life, for people, for the future. The worker who checks the bolts twice, the driver who slows down at every crossing, the mother who child-proofs every room, the engineer who refuses to rush an inspection, they are not paranoid. They are heroes in quiet ways. They save lives without anyone clapping for them. But without them, the world would collapse into chaos. Your choices today decide whether someone else gets to live tomorrow, whether they get to see their family again, whether they get to finish their story. Every shortcut skipped, every warning ignored, every sign dismissed is a silent invitation for tragedy to strike. The responsibility of safety belongs to all of us, not just pilots or engineers or governments. Every human being shares this burden because every human life matters. Gratitude is the only real way to live. Because everything you are holding right now, everything you have right now, can disappear in a heartbeat. This life that you take for granted, the breath you just took, the ability to see the sunlight, the simple joy of walking on your own feet, is not owed to you. It is a gift. A priceless, fragile, temporary gift that can be taken without warning, without mercy, without explanation. When you live without gratitude, you are blind to the miracles happening around you every single day. You are asleep in a world bursting with beauty. I once met a woman who survived a terrible accident. Before that day, she hated her life, complained about her job, her relationship, her body, everything. But after the accident, when she woke up in a hospital bed,